What is up, boys and girls? Welcome back to another Ioki coaching session. Today we're going to be coaching a Poppy support in bronze and hopefully giving him the fundamentals, the game knowledge, and everything he needs to know to take his game to the next level. So a few things before we get into the game. He did disclose to me that he's duoed with the Amumu. So if you see any sort of plays being made between these two champions, that's probably why. So I understand when you're duoed, you kind of want to play towards your duo and try to like coordinate plays with you because you feel like that's your biggest advantage, right? What I will say is that when duoing with the jungler, I feel like a lot of support players overplay for the jungle instead of like trying to truly create and play for the win cons, but we'll see how this game's going. One thing I do like to see is proactivity, not from you necessarily, but from the Lucian, because the game does start at 0 seconds in the game. So he's out here getting aggressive vision and we're kind of lagging a little bit behind. Whereas if you were with him here, that could have actually been a cheese onto Karthus. So we're going to be playing some Poppy support. Poppy is unbelievably broken right now. One thing I will say is that you're running the Aftershock page. I don't really necessarily think you need Aftershock. Aftershock is much better when you're playing against champions who are actually trying to all-in you in the game or in laning phase. The more popular and more efficient rune page is definitely going for the lethality Halo Blades. I think if you make that one change, swapping over from Aftershock to Halo Blades, you will immediately notice like an entire world of change and just like your agency and how much damage you do and the plays that you can go for. So Aftershock is kind of nice, but the thing about Aftershock is that you need to CC them to proc it. So on a lot of champions, like if you're engaging by slamming them into the wall and procking that, like they're stunned. You're not even, you're wasting a lot of like the impact of Aftershock because I mean, they're stunned. They can't even hit you. So definitely make that change. I think pretty much in all matchups, but especially this matchup, like maybe if they had like a Blitzcrank or something and you needed like a very fast way to get a lot of defensive stats, you could go Aftershock. But yeah, against like two squishy targets, definitely not. One thing, again, I understand people want to leash for the junglers. I am a huge advocate for the fact that like if you can afford to not leash for your jungler, you should not be leashing for your jungler because essentially leashing this is going to shave off like 5 or 6 seconds, probably not even that. I'd say close to like 4 seconds off of his clear time. And if we're playing in bronze, 4 seconds off the clear time just doesn't really matter. And what you could be doing is sitting in this bush and slamming them into like either target into the wall and starting your laning phase off with a first blood. So I think that would be a much, much higher impact way to impact this game. Instead, they see exactly where we're at because we walk into lane together. And they see us, whereas like before, that's the biggest advantage by not leashing your jungler is the enemy team is probably going to leash your jungler. They're going to get to lane later. You're going to get to have complete agency over whether what you want to freeze the lane, push the wave, cheese them on the wall, anything like that. Whereas like now she sees you. By the way, you probably still can go for this. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. This right here. Oh my God. Yes. This right here. I'm going to say a couple things. This is why Poppy is so broken, because the geometry of bot lane means you pretty much always have access to a wall, which means you always have access to an all-in. And 2, this is why you want Halo Blades, because you find these early fights, like imagine if instead of 1 auto, you got 4 autos off there really, really fast. Like she's chunked, she has to pop her potions or like possibly even flash. Good catch though, good catch. Looks like you kind of isolated the Ashe. She's alone because Sona is walking the lane late. So in this type of matchup where you always have access to kills, right? It's a Lucian Poppy, you run this lane. You don't want to let them scale. You don't want to let them have a passive laning phase. Always be looking for those picks. It's really, really good. So what that means is that you are going to always want to be utilizing these lane bushes. Always, always, always. So I wouldn't even be mad if you walked into lane with the red sweep. Just to clear these bushes out. Make sure they never ever have vision. So you could be removing that ward right there. You're just always looking for those cheese angles when you're playing a pick like this. Poppy is one of the most fundamentally broken supports right now, but she is still at her core a cheese support. She is someone who thrives by getting kills in lane. All right, I hope you're not dropping a ward here because we're against a Karthus. And we know that, well, we at this point, we know because we're in the replay client that Sona disconnected. But if I saw a Sona this late to lane, I would assume that she is leashing. So by all assumptions, and a lot of League of Legends is information and assumption, working off the information you have, is that Karthus started bot side. And if you haven't already been ganked, that means he's going to full clear into his top side and be at his blue buff at about 3 minutes. Again, assuming he started bot side, assuming they leashed. Which means you don't actually want to be warding this. Oh, you didn't actually ward this. It's a fake ward. Okay. Did you just do a fake ward? I've never seen a bronze player do a fake ward before. That's actually like, that's tech. So what that does is you disappear from lane for a few seconds. The enemy bot lane thinks that they warded. So then they usually converse to their jungler. They you know, relay the information like, hey, it's warded, don't gank through, try. It's actually pretty smart if that's what you're doing. But again, you don't need to be warding this at all because we can assume that if Karthus doesn't cheese bot lane right after red buff, he's going to full clear into a stop side. Also, one more thing about the Hail of Blades thing is that I noticed that you went Domination secondary. By going Hail of Blades, that lets you get all 4 slots of the Domination tree in first, and then it also lets you go another aggressive rune tree, Precision, in your second one. So you can go either Cut Down, you can go Precision, or Inspiration is actually really good in this lane, because if you go Inspiration, you could go Hex Flash, which means you could disappear into this bush, and then Hex Flash out, and always, again, have access to that cheese. So when I see people going like Aftershock on Poppy, I just feel like they're not if you're gonna play a cheese pick like this, you should embrace the cheese and just go all in. All right, we're kind of letting this push out. This is fine, this is fine. So just to see if we were correct about our assumptions, again, I know you didn't ward that, but it's about 301. He should be like starting his blue buff. It might be like halfway dead, possibly. Okay, yeah, oh my God, almost like exactly halfway dead. So just always good to know as support where the jungler is, because I see so many low elo players like warding when they either literally see the jungler or can make a very, very educated guess as to where he is. Because knowing where the jungler is at enables you to make the plays. Like you have to know where the jungler's at to oh, right here, right here, right here. There you go. Very nice, very nice, very nice. Look at that damage. Look at that damage. If this is Hail of Blades, this is literally a kill. Okay, it's literally a kill anyways, but Lucian had to flash for it. If it's Hail of Blades, bro, I'm telling you, you smash her skull into the, you like solo her yourself. It's so insane. But very, very good pick. I love to see this proactivity. The message that Mr. Nigel sent to me is that he felt like he didn't know what more he could be doing. So I am seeing that. I'm seeing some proactivity coming out of you, some playmaking, very good. Setting this Lucian up with some very, very easy kills. All right, so let's talk about this ward, because this is exactly what I just mentioned. Lots of low elo players ward because they feel like they have to, because they feel like they should. That ward's sitting in their bush, or that ward's sitting in their inventory. They should use it, right? But who are you actually warding against? Because we know exactly where Karthus is at. We know exactly where Katarina is at. We know exactly where their top laner is at. So this is just one of those low elo compulsion wards. There's no real reason for it. If you wanted to put up a deep ward, or if you wanted to use your ward and use the fact that you have prio and use the fact that you know where their jungler is at, you could get a deep ward. You could like ward here, and then that would give you some serious intel into where Karthus is going to be pathing after this. Whereas a lot of the times, I mean, yeah, we'll see him here, but like a lot of the times that ward's not enough. If we could get deep vision, it's always, always, always the play. So definitely wasted that ward in my opinion. Let's see what we do off of our first recall, because we got a little bit of gold generation. We got our boots, love to see that rush. Now, I wanna see you walking either into the river or in mid here. Do not walk bot lane or I will be very disappointed. Okay, this guy watches Ioki. You love to see it. You love to see it. So by walking into the ward, or walking into the river here, just in case this fight goes wrong, you're in position to fight it. Looks like your mid laner got a solo kill anyways. But yeah, definitely don't go bot here because there's no reason to. One, they're crashing the wave. So it's like, Lucian is not like missing out on CS or anything like that. And two, you just, by walking mid side, you create plays around your jungler mid. You create opportunities to turn a fight mid, crash their wave if they want, you know, protect a dive. You might even find Karthus. Slam that guy into the wall. You'll love to see this. You'll love to see this. Awesome. Awesome. Very nice. Get out of his passive. There you go. I honestly, if that was me, I'm taking that kill because you want to get your tier 2 boots as fast as possible. If you can get tier 2 boots and start roaming, it's going to have a much greater impact than putting gold onto Amumu here, because think about what Amumu is going to buy. He's going to buy, looks like he's building AP, so he's going like Leandries or something. So he's going to shave off another second off his clear time with that Amp Tome. Which one has a bigger impact? You getting tier 2 boots and being able to run the map and gank wherever you want while Sona has to sit bot and scale for the next 25 minutes, or Amumu shaving off 1 second off of every clear? So if that's me, Me personally, I'm taking that kill, and I think any player in their right mind would be perfectly okay with that. All right, so we got a big wave, and remember what we're looking for versus what they're looking for. We're looking for instant burst damage. They win sustained trades, believe it or not. If you don't actually get the stun, you could actually lose this, especially fighting into this wave. So we want to be looking for angles where we can end this fight fast. I love this little walk back and forth here, because what that's doing is it's making her nervous to put herself between the wall and you. So I love that little walk back and forth. I think that's like the best thing that Nice ever preached as a coach, is you never want to walk sideways, sideways, sideways. That does nothing. If you truly want to utilize your clicks and make these clicks count, you walk backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards. You walk forwards, make Ashe think, oh my God, she's going in. You walk backwards, you make Ashe think, oh my God, no, she's not. So like that's how to actually utilize those clicks. So I love this. You're just fishing. You're trying to think. And remember, you have flash, so you can flash this way and stun that way. And this Ashe doesn't have flash. And honestly, as a character like Poppy, you want to be using this flash as soon as possible. You don't want to hold on to it like it's like a prized possession, a family heirloom. Use your flash and smash this person into the wall right here. And this is literally just a flash smash. Yep, flash smash. Easy, easy, easy. Not finding it though. And then this is the problem when we look for things and don't commit. We get chunked a little bit, but it's okay. We're still half health. We can work with that. We can work with that. All right, let's do a little bit of guesswork here, because we haven't seen the jungler in a while. Karthus does grubs relatively fast because of his E. He's probably, I would say if I had to guess, he is pathing towards grubs at this moment. He's actually on the bot side. So, you know what? Sometimes our assumed information is wrong. Chilling, we're chilling. We're no longer chilling. Karthus is here. Using E as an escape here, it's not too bad. It's not too bad. Oh my goodness gracious. Look at that. How OP is Poppy, bro? Well played. Very well played. And you don't even die. Look at that. How freaking OP is Poppy? Well played. All right, well, good stuff. I don't know if this is you relaying this information to Amumu, but the fact that Karthus is bot and failed to play bot, rule of thumb, this goes for junglers especially, but for pretty much anyone. Like, to some extent, it goes for every single role. If their jungler makes a play on one side of the map, you should make a play on the other side of the map. So if we see, like, for instance, Karthus ganking top and Amumu is bot side, what do? You coordinate with him a dive or a gank here, right? You very, very rarely chase plays. Like Amumu shouldn't see Karthus ganking bot and then start hustling down bot, right? So it's very, very good. I don't know if you gave him that information, but if you didn't, that should have been your call to say, hey, go start grubs. So I'm seeing a lot of really good stuff. A lot of really, really good stuff out of your guys' duo. I would have been pathing mid here again because this wave is already crashed. Look how many minions this is. Lucian will have absolutely no problem getting this in, right? You don't need to be here. You're just an ornament in bot. So once again, you should be traversing the map. Imagine if you were behind this Katarina right now and she goes for a trade. She uses her E and now she's dead. Whereas you got to think about which place are you most needed, right? Lucian's not even looking to fight. He's out of mana. So he doesn't even want to stay here. So we're kind of, you know, in ornament territory. And what I mean by that is that, yeah, you're technically bot. You're where most ADCs want their support to be, but you can't fight. So your actual usefulness is very, very limited. See Karthus on that ward, very nice. All right. Once again, if you had domination, you could stay in that a lot longer and chunk him. You hate to see that. You hate to see it. You want to stay close enough to this fight since Zed's committing. Very nice. Oh, okay. So another, I like the presence. I like the fact that you stayed around, but you also need to kind of read when the play is over, right? So this play is pretty much over, right? He doesn't actually need you to go in here. But now we're Ashe ulted on top of the Karthus ult. We're gonna get chunked. So luckily that doesn't result in a death, but it's something that's very fluid in League of Legends. It's something that changes on a second per second basis, and you just get You just get better at recognizing when you need to go in and when you need to just be there to go in. Just the more you play, the more you play, the better you get at the game. All right, we should be escorting each other out here. We should just be leaving through here. Lucian's still very, very far. Sona is 6. She has an XP lead on you, and oh. Okay, we can find a one-shot there. Very nice, very nice. Honestly, kind of insane you guys just one-shot her. It just astounds me how OP these champions are, man. Very nice. I think fundamentally it was probably a leave there because Ashe did have prio and Lucian wasn't close, but you know, I guess if you guys saw that Ashe was bot and you know, they were a little staggered and not kind of on the same page about it, it was a good call. Good luck, good luck. Very good look. Lucian is going to clear he's already smashed the wave, crashed it. So why are we walking bot again? We should be walking mid here. We walk mid. We don't need to be bot. Lucian should be taking recall here. And we should be looking mid. But now we're bots, 2v2. The first time in a while. We haven't seen Karthus in a while. So we need to be very, very carefully watching their body language because now they both have access to hard engage, which means it's a lot easier for them to set up plays and ganks. So if they're all of a sudden walking up when they've been playing pretty scared this whole game, I think there might be a Karthus heading our way. Also, there's no objective topside, so there's no incentive for Karthus to be topside, right? Kinnan is under his turret, completely safe. Grubs are already gone. There's really only one play that Karthus can be making, and it's probably going to be bot here. Okay, so at this point, I would be doing the yellow cautious pings on Lucian. I would be walking up since you have prio, since you've got them under their turret for a few seconds. Walk up here and get a ward together. Okay, Lucian got the ward. Sona's contesting him on it, which means that she's probably, I would say, all signs are pointing towards the fact that Karthus is bot right now. Okay, Ashe flashed out of that. Good flash by her, but now we're on a, what is it, 14-second cooldown where we really cannot participate in the fight. So now I would be really, really heavily pinging Lucian back. Okay, there's the inevitable Karthus ult, or Karthus gank. Ooh, okay, so we ulted Sona out. Sona is the least of our problems right now. I think you were aiming for Karthus, which is an okay idea. But what an actual good idea is ulting the Ashe out. She's already used her arrow now. She has no flash, which means she can't flash it, whereas both of these guys can. Actually, Sona has no flash. But yeah, it looks like you're trying to ult Karthus out, which is an okay idea. The actual good idea here is to ult Ashe out. Ashe is going to be the majority of their consistent damage. And ulting Karthus out, he can still contribute with his ulti, right? So if you had ulted Ashe there, it definitely would have just been a dub, and you probably just would have been able to walk away. But really, we should have just been playing according to the fact that Karthus literally has nowhere else on the map to be. Again, as we saw earlier when I was wrong about which half of the map Karthus was on, you have to go off of assumed information. But if you present to yourself objectively, like logically sound presumed information and work off of that, 95% of the time it'll be right. Right? Sometimes they'll be making a weird play that, you know, couldn't have seen coming, but or like a play that just doesn't make sense but then ends up working. But if you go off of the night, you know, all these reasons that I gave you that Karthus should be bot and Karthus was bot, if you had thought to yourself those reasons, you would have played differently, right? So just work off of logically sound assumptions. 95% of the time they'll be right. Nice try, nice try. Good look. I'm totally fine with you looking for those. Because if that lands, if that does stun, it's probably going to be a kill. We know Ashe has no flash. Alright, this one is a little forced. Because look where your ADC is at. Look where your jungler is at. And you don't have the Halo Blade's lethality damage. So dedicating your flash here, especially without knowing where Karthus is at. This is really, really, really sus. Like, if a Mumu was right here, and you have to land the stun right now, right there, that's totally fine. But yeah, this is not going to result in anything, I imagine. In fact, all it's done is kind of funneled your Lucian in to what is now a bad trade, where you're on cooldowns. It's very awkward. Yeah, definitely a super, super forced fight there. Just be aware. That's like the Leona ends up being a good play because they overcommit. I want you to take away from this, not the fact that it ended up being a good play, but this play that you created was fundamentally flawed, okay? Like, I think that can really, really hamper low elo players, like, learning curve, is they will make a play that is bad that then eventually, because the enemy team is also bad, turns into a good play, and then they're like, oh my gosh, that play I made back here was good. When it's like very, very fundamentally flawed, they're too far. But yeah, this is like the classic. As a Leona player, I've done a lot of Leona coaching over the days, and the number one thing, I'm sure you've seen it in my Twitch chat, is people be like, I play Leona and no one follows up. And it's like, I feel like that's the engages that they're making. It's just like, no one is close. No one would even assume you're going in there. Assume everyone is playing with locked cameras and just make plays that are so fundamentally good and so fundamentally easy to follow up on that even the bronzest of bronze players will follow up. So let's look at our build. It looks like we're going Deadmans. So blood. Oh, Warmogs. So Warmogs. Okay, Warmogs is. I know Warmogs is like all the rage right now. No, I personally think I'm not a huge fan of going Warmogs, especially if you're going to play a champion that I consider to be a cheese champion like Poppy. Like, I really think you will have your mind blown if you try out like a few lethality items, one lethality item into full tank. But if you are dedicated to playing the tank, I'm not a big fan of Warmogs, honestly. And it's especially next patch, it's going to get nerfed into Oblivion. But like even right now, it's not active. You need 1300 bonus health, which means you need to be buying a Ruby Crystal. So you've got what is essentially your mythic item, your one item power spike. Like Amumu gets so much from Leandries. Like Lucian gets so much from Collectors. Zed gets so much from Eclipse. You got nothing from Warmogs. So not a huge fan of the Warmogs in general, but I understand most guides and probably even the recommended items are telling these players to build this stuff. So I don't blame you for building it. I just really think you should be trying out some different builds. Like either Deadmans, or if you're just completely sold and set and dedicated to playing tank, I think tank itemization right now is better on Knight's Vow, Locket, Zeke's. Warmogs is just like such a gimmick, and it requires you to like dip in and out of fights to get the maximum value. And like, I just don't think that's what you should be focusing on. There's so many like more pressing issues that low elo players need to be focusing on, like decision making and macro and learning the characters, matchups and stuff like that. You don't need to be focusing on like, okay, I just took 700 damage. Now I need to dip out of the fight for 5 seconds, break vision here, then go back in. It's just too complex. So keep it very, very simple, you know? All right, so this is kind of just a Fiesta fight we have going mid. A little bit of an oversight, to be honest. I think another noob trap that we have in the new season is the ability to get into the Rift Herald. Because not only do people misclick it, but they feel pressured to get in it and drive, when if he just leaves it here, it will crash into tier 2. So by him getting in this, he's kind of baiting all of you to overstay, right? Because we see another Rift Herald charge. But like, do we really need this? And this is a little bit of anti-synergy. He's got the Katarina lockdown and you ult him out. This is all just like a Fiesta. Like, who cares? You know what I mean? You want to think about League of Legends as a turn-based game. So essentially, you used a lot of your tempo and a lot of your energy and resources. You used the Rift Herald and you brought 3 people mid. And it was a really good turn, right? Like imagine in like a card game, you have a great turn. You got their tier 1 turret, you got their tier 2 turret, you brought a bunch of people mid to answer that, but then they get a turn too, right? Now it's the enemy team's turn. They all have vision of you. They know exactly how many of you are mid, they know exactly which angles they can come from, and they know exactly where all their teammates are at. Whereas you have way less information than they do. So their turn is probably going to be pretty good, right? So I would just be heavily, after you've gotten the objective, even if it means you're not getting this tier 2 right now, after you've gotten tier 1 mid and this Rift Herald walks into tier 2, just leave. Don't overstay your hand. Don't overstay your hand. So by Zed ulting, he has extended his turn, overextended his tempo, and now you're in a bad position where it's like, oh, do I help the Zed? Do I leave because I know this is bad? Do I play with my Amumu? Just all, and this all comes from Pinglish. This all comes from heavily using pings to tell your team what you think they should be doing. So like after Amumu charges into the tier 2, just red ping everywhere, everywhere. Because believe it or not, low elo players do want to be told what to do. They genuinely do. They want guidance at the very least. So yeah, this is what it looks like when you overstay your turn. And you're here for when they get the response turn. Whether you get out or not, doesn't really matter. You've died. All right, and right around now is when lower elo games usually lose focus. You know, it like everyone starts the game in a very structured manner, right? We all know 2 people go bot, 1 person goes jungle, 1 person goes mid, 1 person goes top. But right around now, they're missing some structure. And what in better, higher skill bracket games would mean is that we've just opened up mid, which means we've now got access to their jungle, which makes it harder for them to respond to objectives, all these things. I don't really think that bronze players think about that stuff. So they end up taking turrets and then not knowing what the next step is. And everyone just runs around with their heads, with their like chickens with their heads cut off. Like, why are you going in on this? There is absolutely no reason to go in on that. Zero. No one was even in response to go in. So my biggest thing that I can try to help you with is that learn what the next step should be, which is what I just kind of said. You've opened up mid, which means they basically have like an open wound in mid lane now. Your waves are going to naturally crash in deeper, which means their line of scrimmage and what they can defend and what they can see is going to be closer to their base. So by opening mid, it's going to be harder for them to, for instance, respond to Karthus getting invaded or respond to Poppy putting a deep ward. So don't open up mid and then just make random unstructured plays. We want to keep our foot on their throat sort of thing, you know what I mean? So this is good. We're all grouped up. It could be like a 4-man dive top. That would be a good structured play. We see Ash's bot. We see Sona's catching mid. So right now, I would be pinging this Garen. I would absolutely be pinging this Garen and be looking for a dive, but you got to be on it together. So you all need to be coming from the same way. Are we going from beneath? Nice, awesome, awesome. Dude, you love to see this. You need to be stringing your CC together a little bit better. So E, and then if it's not a stun, you just need to instantly ult. Especially because he's got tenacity. So these stuns from Amumu and Kinnan aren't going to last very long. But that was good. That was really, really good. Also, Lucian and Zed got to push mid. Oh my god. But we just used our turn, right? We just used Kinnan ult, and your Aftershock, and your ult, and Amumu ult. So now we back out. We used everything. We do not even entertain the idea of fighting these guys because they all have ults when we know our teammates just use theirs. So you shouldn't even be up here because the only thing being up here does is make your team think that it's time to fight and dive again. And what do you know? You're fighting on their tempo. You are fighting on their turn. And it's a lost fight again. So just leave. Start using that pinglish again. Start red pinging. Hardcore. I mean, you almost got lucky and won that, but like, it's just a flawed fight to begin with. You know they have ults. You know that you don't. League of Legends is a turn-based game. It is turn-based. All right, got a dragon up in 15 seconds. Now, if you hadn't overstayed your turn, imagine if you blew Garen's flash and then all reset, and then you were at the dragon 40 seconds beforehand, and you could get vision behind it. You could cheese them as they're coming in here. Instead, now we're walking up to the dragon as it's spawning. We're completely blind. They could be in any of these bushes. Who knows what's going on? It's all very unstructured, right? It's very coin flippy. The best thing you can do to get out of low elo is to apply structure to your games. Know what the next step is. Solo queue is always, by nature, going to be chaotic because you've got 5 different people with 5 different ideas of what to do. But if you can apply some sort of structure to your games, you will climb so fast. I like this, by the way. I like the idea of what you're doing. I don't... okay, stun this guy. There you go, there you go. I love this idea, by the way. As support, it is very, very rarely your job to actually DPS the dragon. Your job is to do exactly what you're doing. Provide an obstacle to their jungler and to their team trying to enter in. So awesome, amazing job. In my coaching, I like to, you know, tell you guys what you're doing right so that you can continue doing those and just hammer out the details of what you're doing wrong. So love to see that, bro. You should be doing Baron here, by the way. You should have spam pinged the Baron. Their Karthus is dead. Mid is automatically pushing because they have no turrets to protect this area. If you had communicated to their jungler that this is a Baron angle, you just win the game off that. Because what that does is it forces a 4v5 with, they have no jungler, so they will never outsmite, which means they have to just take the fight. And then they're playing into a Kinnan with flash. They're playing into an Amumu with ultimate. Numbers down. So yeah, you just would have won the entire game there. So instead we're looking for this play, string together your CC a lot better, but it's just all kind of, sloppy. Looks like we do eventually get the Garen, but it's just chaos. This is just uncoachable. It's just low elo chaos. The structured play was get everybody on the same page, do the Baron, right? This is what happens when there's unstructured plays. You may win them, you may lose them, but they are fundamentally chaotic, right? Who knows? Who knows what happens? But yeah, if this is your duo, you should be on comms for your duo, and you should be saying, hey, easy Baron. Okay, once again, just weird unstructured plays. You win some, you lose some, you coin flip them. Definitely time to recall, though. Definitely time to recall. It is never your job to pick up this wave. Never, ever, ever. Yeah, you should have recalled about a minute before, and then you would beef with your team for this play. And then this would have been another game-winning play. So it's like, I know it feels like you're having a really good performance, because for the most part you are. But it feels like you're overextending your tempo a lot and trying to do too much while playing support. Remember, your job is to create plays and be there for plays for your team. Rarely should you be making solo plays like you were top. If you had been there for this play, I genuinely think you guys just wiped them. And that's another game winner. Nice. Once again, just like kind of chaotic plays going on. You win some, you lose some. Is this your ward that you just put down? All right, stop putting this ward. I've seen you make this ward a couple times this game. Wards always go outside of the pit. Unless they're like on the pit, you're already on the dragon and you're just like trying to give vision for your jungler to steal it. You don't actually need to see anyone in here, right? You don't need to see the dragon. You're about to do the dragon. Okay, I don't know if you accidentally missed that. But yeah, that was correct to not ult away anyone there. You would have been saving them. So I don't know if you can just let that time out, by the way, and you get back, I believe, 3/4 of the ult timer, maybe half. So you don't have to, if you realize halfway through charging your ult that like you don't want to knock them away, you can just let that time out, just keep charging it, and I believe it gives you back half the timer. I like this, by the way. You know there's no threat of them stealing it, so you don't even wait to see the dragon die. I like this. I love that. Very, very nice tempo here. The second you are no longer needed at a play, you can just recall. Plays over, dragon secured, recall. Now you want to stay close to him though, because you see Kinnan collapsing. There you go. Beautiful. Good job. Good job. Good stuff, man. Seeing a lot of really good proactivity from you. We just gotta work on structuring our games, and I swear you will climb so hard. All right, Ashe is bot. Now remember, they don't need your DPS on this. So why aren't you over here scouting? You should be dropping wards. You should be trying to find Karthus. Give him something to shoot. Give him something to hit. You don't need to be hitting the Baron. You did it really well on the dragon, but we just plan to get out here. We're chilling. Nice, nice. Also, Merc Treads, if you are, Merc Treads probably would have been a play here over the Boots of Swifties. Swifties are good against like Ashe and for roaming and stuff and getting to place fast, but they have a lot of AP damage. Love the BM, by the way. Love the BM. All right, let me see what just happened here. So we see they're out of position. That doesn't stun, that's crazy. Still catcher though. Good stuff, good stuff. All right, Garen is pushing bot. Sona and Ashe are pushing mid. So you probably need to be sending one more person back just to answer this, but then you guys have Baron, so if it comes down to like a base race, you will win it. It's just, you need to be sending one more person back. Especially because, yeah, you know, at this point, Garen's flash could be up. We see that it's not because we're in replay, but like, if Garen flashes on Lucian, he can 100 to 0 him. All right, Garen has backed up, which means that he is recalling and coming to this now. So we have a very, very brief timer to dive this guy. Very nice, very nice. Garen's about to show. There he is. Okay. Just some overstays. It's okay. We live to see another day. Recall, by the way. Recall, recall. You have nothing to do here. You're not gonna walk this all the way to inhib, so you don't need to be here empowering it. Just recall, refresh your wards, be ready for the next play. You're overstaying. You're overstaying a long, long time. A long, long time. And now, because you took so long to overstay, or to recall, you could have recalled a long time ago and then been with them there. So it's like, I really am seeing like a lot of really good stuff for you. This is Worthless ulti, by the way. Worthless ulti, they have no wave to siege with. Shouldn't be going in either. You have no one to follow up with, and you cannot one-shot these guys. Even if you had the lethality build, you couldn't be one-shotting these guys this late into the game. So that could have very easily been your death. If you can't one-shot them at this point, you can't go in. They've got that sustained damage. They've got that perma-slow. Oh, hello. I think this is just a matter of like not paying attention. But Sona walking in here and literally like begging to get smashed into a wall. This could have been another game ender. That could have been another game ender if we are truly aware and paying attention. That is... You're getting the TP. It's pretty far. I would just be like, I would not be doubling down on this. It's only their second dragon, and your jungler's dead, and Lucian is very clearly not coming to it. So I wouldn't even be going in on at this point. They put up a good effort. Hey, you guys actually like slaughtered them. Very nice. I would have been going in just because like the objective's already gone, so it's like you're just playing team deathmatch at this point, but guys that did actually win the fight, so one of those results-based analysis moments. Like, I don't think it's a good play, but it worked. All right, if I know bronze, I think someone's randomly gonna get caught. You're gonna double down on a losing fight, and then they're just gonna walk mid at end. Katarina's pushing mid. Looks like Katarina's gonna... Oh. So you guys are the tanks though. Like you really shouldn't be split pushing. You don't have access to like 90% of your team's damage if you guys are like playing down here alone. You should really not ever be here. Like these are bad lane assignments. Oh, terrible. Okay, we need to leave right now. This is where we start. This is where we start red pinging. Yeah, you should be with your team for sure. You guys can't take turrets and you can't kill anyone that is defending the turrets together, so. All right, once again, like there's no real reason for you to be like running around alone at this point. We're 35 minutes into the game. We need to be with our team and looking for like flash stuns. All right, Lucian's dead. You guys' death timers are staggered. Katarina goes down. This guy gets caught. Oh, we're going in on a fight. Oh, almost a good disengage, but yeah, you can't even go in. If you can't kill them, you can't ever go in, which means you just need to like cut your losses with that cannon. So this is honestly just one of those things. Yeah, so, exactly what I predicted. If someone gets caught and then that just snowballs into people running mid. So this is one of those things where it's like a lot of little mistakes added up. We'll let the game play out. I know I said this a couple times, but I'm seeing a lot of really good stuff. And I hope you remember the good things that I pointed out and understand why they were good things. A lot of your mistakes are just like tempo based, like you're overstaying and like encouraging your teammates to go for plays that are already over. Remember, think about League of Legends as a turn-based game and it will just completely change your perception of what plays are possible and which ones are not. So yeah, I would say those are my biggest suggestions for you, man. I hope you learned from this, buddy. Thank you so much for your patience and waiting for the coaching session. I know it took a little bit longer than you wanted, but this was fun. This was hopefully very educational for you and for anyone watching on YouTube. Work on tempo. Definitely try out the Halo Blades play or room page. And yeah, just be thinking consciously. Like, hey, we just used 3 ultimates. Should we still be here? Like, hey, it's 35 minutes into the game. Should I really be split pushing with my tank? Like, who is more likely to have a bigger impact on the game? Like my Amumu or my late game Lucian Zed? You know what I mean? So seeing a little bit too many solo plays, a little bit too many overstays, a little bit tempo definitely needs cleaned up. And then yeah, like I said, try out the lethality page, try out a Halo Blades page. But keep up the good work for the most part, and I hope to see you in gold and above very soon. Take it easy, brother. Peace.